Welcome to the Folktale Project. This is Dan Scholes. Today, we start off our 3 North American folktales with a story from Charles Skinner and Myths and Legends of Our Own Land. And this story, it's quite a way to start your week. We start with a story of revenge and loathing built around the American Revolution. This is Father and Son. It was 3 soldiers escaping from the rout of Braddock's forces who caught the alleged betrayer of their general and put him to the death. They threw his purse of ill-gotten louis d'or into the river, and sent him swinging from the edge of a ravine, with a vine about his neck and a placard on his breast. And so they left him. 20 years pass, and the war fires burn more fiercely in the vales of Pennsylvania, but, too old to fight, the schoolmaster sits at his door near Chad's Ford, and smokes and broods upon the past. He thinks of a time when he marched with Washington, when, with 2 wounded comrades, he returned along the lonely trail. Then comes the vision of a blackening face, and he rises and wipes his brow. "It was right," he mutters. "He sent 1,000 of his brothers to their deaths." Gilbert Gates comes that evening to see the old man's daughter, a smooth, polite young fellow. But Mayland cannot like him, and after some short talk, he leaves him, pleading years and rheumatism, and goes to bed. But not to sleep. For, toward 10 o'clock, his daughter goes to him and urges him to fly, for men are gathering near the house, Tories, she is sure, and they mean no good. Laughing at her fears, but willing to relieve her anxiety, the old man slips into his clothes, goes into the cellar, and thence starts for the barn, while the girl remains for a few minutes to hide the silver. He does not go far before Gates is at his elbow with the whispered words, "Into the stack, quick, they are after you." Mayland hesitates with distrust, but the appearance of men with torches leaves no time for talk. With Gilbert's help, he crawls deep into the straw and is covered up. Presently, a rough voice asks which way he has gone. Gilbert replies that he has gone to the wood, but there is no need for getting into a passion, and that on no account would it be advisable to fire the stack. "Won't we, though?" cries one of the party. "We'll burn the rebel out of house and home." And thrusting his torch into the straw, it is ablaze in an instant. The crowd hurries away toward the wood, and does not hear the stifled groan that comes out of the middle of the fire. Gates takes a paper from his pocket, and after reading it for the last time, flings it upon the flame. It bears the inscription, "Isaac Gates, traitor and spy, hung by 3 soldiers of His Majesty's army, Isaac Mayland." From his moody contemplation he rouses with a start, for Mayland's daughter is there. Her eyes are bent on a distorted thing that lies among the embers, and in the dying light of the flames it seems to move. She studies it close, then, with a cry of pain and terror, she falls upon the hot earth, and her senses go out, not to be regained in woeful years. With head low bowed, Gilbert Gates trudges away. In the fight at Brandywine next day, Black Samson, a giant Negro armed with a scythe, sweeps his way through the red ranks like a sable figure of time. Mayland had taught him. His daughter had given him food. It is to avenge them that he is fighting. In the height of the conflict, he enters the American ranks leading a prisoner, Gilbert Gates. The young man is pale, stern, and silent. His deed is known. He is a spy as well as a traitor, but he asks no mercy. It is rumored that the next day he alone of the prisoners was led to a wood and lashed by arms and legs to a couple of hickory trees that had been bent by a prodigious effort and tied together by their tops. The lashing was cut by a rifle ball. The trees regained their straight position with a snap like whips, and that was the way Gilbert Gates came to his end. And that is the North American folktale from Charles Skinner's Myths and Legends of Our Own Land, of father and son. And, my goodness, what an end both father and son come to. Actually, both fathers and the son of Gilbert Gates. Of all of them, I don't know which is the worst. And it just reminds us how terrible war can be, doesn't it? This is Dan Scholes for the Folktale Project. Don't forget that you can subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play, Overcast, anywhere you like to get your podcasts. You can follow us on Twitter at Folktale Project. You can find us on Auto Radio, TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio, Spotify, anywhere you like to listen. And you can always head over to folktaleproject.com, where you'll find a new story waiting for you every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Don't forget that if you'd like to help support the podcast, you can head over to patreon.com/folktaleproject, where for as little as $1 a month, you can get early access to every story told. And for the rest of this month, you'll find a special offer waiting for you if you head over to Patreon. As always, thank you so much for listening.